Freedom exists in two forms: the freedom to action and the freedom from action. To the weak, indifference and evil cannot be distinguished. Life is struggle. A rejection of struggle is thus a rejection of life. To have less than your neighbor is worse than for neither to have anything. There is something special about English society that allowed for struggle and common morality to coexist, despite their apparent contradiction. For a revolution to occur, a counter-elite must exist. Thus, a revolution is impossible within a meritocracy, since all individuals who are capable join the elite. We have the freedom to choose our actions, but not the freedom to choose our spirit. History is mechanistic in its themes and chaotic in its specifics. A social contract doesn't require equality of force, only individual rationality and incentive compatibility. It is always the contract that stays the hand of the powerful. For no one has total freedom of action. No crime exists unto itself as a crime. Instead, it is only the prejudices of a society that transform human behavior into criminality. Comfort breeds comfort, much as hardship breeds hardship. The goal is to struggle and strive. Nirvana is obliteration and resignation to those that struggle. Sex is more coin than offering. Strength is the measure of virtue, but strength need not reside in a single person. A mob creates its own morality and thus virtue. Death comes, prepared or otherwise. A life lived well is either a preparation for obliteration or an acceptance of the moment. The path to happiness is preparation for disaster, stoicism in the face of disaster, and a clear-eyed view of reality. Observation doesn't exist without theory, articulated or otherwise. Without virtue, we cannot articulate evil, but it does not change the action. Often evil and virtue can only be separated in hindsight. In the moment, the distinction did not even exist. Truth requires little ability. Lying is a skill you develop. The more removed from selective pressure a society becomes, the more it begins to view selective pressure not as a necessity of life, but instead as an evil, an imposition created by man. We are grown for suffering and yet despise it. Being adapted for a reality often makes it suffer more, not less, because suffering is an adaptation, an instinct that exists to move us. Nature is no more naturally full of pity or cruelty than man is. It simply does, and we assign pity to that which helps, and cruelty to that which doesn't. We are defined by our restrictions. Without them, we have nothing, and with them, we have everything. Children are born cruel and taught to forget their virtue. There is only one distinction between the mob and the state. The laws of the mob are more clearly articulated. Action without thought leads only to destruction, and thought without action leads downwards into obliteration. There is not suffering like an abundance of pleasure, since it strips the good out, leaving only the bad behind. Writing is a projection downward, out of consciousness and into physical space. Reading is a resurrection of consciousness through an injection of ourselves. Life only ever achieves stability by continually neglecting, harming, disabling, and killing its creations. Man fears a path to salvation more than he fears chains in hell, because without a path, there is no failure. In chains, there is no escape. We will always rearrange any activity, singular or group-based, into a hierarchy. Otherwise, we won't enjoy it. The means justify the ends. Sin lies in the action, not in its consequences. The power process exists and is an essential human need. Knowing is in being able to explain. When I was 12, I learned the day was short. I quickly learned the week was no time at all. I'm now learning that a month is as long as a day. The second derivative on our experience of time is negative. We will never know, but it's possible that an eternity and an arbitrarily large length of time feel the same. If you peeled back people's brains, you would see the chattering of 1,000 models of the people they know. When the time is right for an idea, it will emerge wherever the conditions are right, like flowers in spring. Everything true I have ever written is the property of the universe. All that is mine are the mistakes. Love those additions that help you. Hate those additions that hurt you. I am here because my ancestors chose to love the particulars and not the whole of the universe. Follow in their footsteps. Power is a noisy signal of true moral virtue. We are only the front man of a band, not even the songwriter. Most of us lurks beneath the surface. We killed God, found the world lonely and invited the devil.